Hey, what's up bro? My name is Osil, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of the most underutilized strategies when it comes to investing in real estate, and that is known as house hacking. And essentially what that is, house hacking is where you use the main place which you are residing in to start generating income, and then you rent it out to other people so they can start living in it and start bringing in money to you in your pockets. Real quickly, since I didn't mention it, by the main place you are living in, I mean the house you're living in there still, but you're just renting out one or two of the bedrooms. So if you have a 3-bedroom, you're renting out 2 of those bedrooms to other people. Maybe they're strangers, friends, or family. Alright, right back to the video now. For the purpose of this video, let's say that you are living in a 3-bedroom house that costs, let's say, 200 G's, which you either living in right now or in the future, okay? House hacking is where you are gonna rent 1 or 2 bedrooms out to a group of people, probably going to be 1 or 2 individuals, and another bedroom out to 1 or 2 individuals, and they will start paying you rent to use that place to live in, right? Typically this will be singles or couples, okay? Once they start bringing in the money, that's when you are getting rid of your most biggest expense, which is housing. Housing typically costs for a 200 grand house, that's going to be 1K a month, right? You rent out one room, let's say 1 grand. If you decide to rent that other room, that'll be 2 grand per month. So that's taking your biggest expense and making it a positive, and it's generating you income just like any other job or side hustle or side business would be. And house hacking, it doesn't have to be a random stranger. If you really are that comfortable with living with someone who you don't know, maybe don't trust, you can always just rent it out to friends or family members. But if you don't have someone that's looking to rent a house, or maybe you don't got a close friend who's looking to move into a place that you live in, you can always just, swallow up your pride, put a for rent sign out on your front yard, and post a house on Zillow just like you post anything on Instagram when you're posting yourself. Take a bunch of pictures of the house, post the rooms, let them know in the description, what the conditions of the house may be. Maybe they'll be living with you and one other person already. Maybe it's just you and they'll be living with you, your kid, and another person, etc., etc., right? And that way, now once someone moves in, you're getting rid of the most biggest costs in your monthly budget, which is more often than not going to be housing. So there's no reason not to. It's basically just sacrificing the short term for the long term when you really think about it, because now that you're not having to pour out 1 grand a month towards your mortgage, you are instead making extra $500 or getting rid of that expense entirely. Now you can focus that towards building your rental portfolio. Let me take a quick break. So after 2 to 3 years goes by and you're still making in the money from that house by house hacking, having another person live with you, and just dealing with the fact that you're either going to be living with a friend or family, which is cool, or maybe you're having to live with a stranger. As long as you do do a little bit of background check, make sure the person you're living with is not some serial killer or something like that. Make sure you're living with a normal person. Now just swallow up a bit of privacy. You're not going to get the privacy you want, but you'll be investing in the long term. So just ask yourself, is it better to sacrifice a little bit of comfortability in the short term and win in the long term, or would you rather give up the long term for the short term? That's really the decision that you have to make when it comes to house hacking, essentially. Because the benefits I just listed are huge. You're getting rid of your biggest expense, you can start generating profit, and you can start looking towards all that money you're getting from house hacking, as well as working whatever job you're working in, towards towards your next home, which you plan on buying, as well, to build up that rental portfolio. Because now you're only gaining money, you're gaining equity, and in the future you can use that equity when you sell that home to invest that money towards more houses. You could buy your next 2 to 3 homes using this strategy, maybe more smaller homes, right? But still, using an FHA loan. FHA loans will allow you to buy a house at 3.5% down payment. So let's say you buy another 200 grand house, okay? Now with that 200 grand house, you only got to put 7 to 8 grand at closing, and bam, just like that, the house is yours, okay? Once that house is yours, you can do the same thing. You can just put the rent sign in the yard, put it on Zillow for rent, start renting it out, and start making money. And then from there, once another 2 years go by, this is on year 4, now you can essentially quit your job and just focus on being a real estate investor, finding the next deals, because you've already built up, assuming you did everything correctly. From the first house, you probably would have stayed in there for 2 to 3 years, got about 60 to 80 grand in equity, because the housing market's pretty dang crazy in most places, right? Each year we see houses just getting massive increases in value right now. After that, you sell them off, and then boom, you buy more houses. You keep on investing, you keep on renting them out, and just building that cash flow and equity and selling them for more and more profits. But with that said though, I hope you guys found value in this video. I hope that you can see the power in potentially house hacking to get rid of your most biggest liability, which is paying for a place to live in, and instead turning it into profits, and then eventually selling off those profits and equity to buy more houses and get more rentals in the future. I find this to be a far more effective strategy than flipping or wholesaling, which require you to have basically lots of money ready and on hand. With this strategy, all you need to muster up is about 10 to 8 grand dollars, and you just keep working it from there. You know what I'm saying? So it really is one of those strategies that you don't need to have a bunch of money on hand, because most of the strategies, like being a flipper for instance, or flipping houses, they essentially require you to have like 100 grand on pocket ready to go, right? So you can get the house for 8 to 10 grand and then use about 30 to 40 grand to fix it up and then sell it, put it on the market and market it and all that stuff and get it sold. It requires a lot of money and time, which a lot of people, they just don't have on them. You know what I'm saying? With this, essentially all you need is 7 to 8 grand bucks, and you can just keep on buying houses, renting them out, and just generating cash flow. And then a couple years from now, once you build up equity, you sell them all, and you just keep doing it over and over again, just building that portfolio. And then eventually, once you have 10 rentals, you don't even need to do this anymore. You just sit back, relax, and go on a cruise from there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Anyways, with that said, y'all guys have a good one, and like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next week on the next video. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Peace.